And so there it is. That was the final game of the 2024 MLB season. It is now October, playoff baseball. Only 12 teams alive, and this is my postseason bracket prediction. First, we have the Detroit Tigers versus the Houston Astros. It's great hearing that the Tigers finally made the playoffs for the first time since 2014. I actually didn't think they were going to make the postseason this year, but what can I say? Their team is pretty talented. First, they got to get past the dragon though. That dragon is the Houston Astros. And this team, ever since 2017, they've been in the playoffs. And honestly, they give every single team a hard time. It just seems like you can never just have a chill game against these guys. But in the beginning of the season, this 2024 Astros team actually struggled. And I just feel like they'll struggle again since they're not used to being in the wild card. I feel like the Detroit Tigers will finally take the Astros out early in the postseason. The next AL wildcard is the Kansas City Royals versus the Baltimore Orioles. Hey, the Royals are back in the postseason, finally. I remember the Royals being so good in 2014 and 2015. Postseason Royals baseball actually kind of made me fall in love with the game, so it's just nice seeing them back. The 2024 Royals actually shocked a lot of fans. Nobody really expected the Royals to be good, including me, but man, they showed me. But of course, they have to face a team that was in the postseason last year, which is the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the Orioles, they are a really young team. Super talented as well now. A lot of people expect big from the Orioles. But like how I said, they're a pretty young team, and I feel like this team probably just needs a little bit more experience. So, I gotta go with the Kansas City Royals. Pretty nostalgic too that these two teams actually faced each other in the playoffs 10 years ago, and now they're facing each other again. Looks like history will repeat itself. Let's move to the NL. The New York Mets versus the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brew Crew. They had some special moments this year. I felt like this team was highly underrated though because I really never heard anything about this team. I didn't even know the Brewers were this good until after the All-Star break. They actually surprised me this year. Well, what team surprised me even more was the New York Mets. Man, I remember the broadcast saying the New York Mets have hit rock bottom. It looked like the 2024 season was just going to be an ordinary Mets season. But they stunned everyone. They made the 2024 postseason. Barely. I gotta hand it to them. This team is actually pretty good, considering the Brewers are known to get bad luck in the postseason and also known to be early wildcard exits. I just feel like it's going to happen again to them, so I choose the New York Mets. The second NL wildcard is the Atlanta Braves versus the San Diego Padres. Whew, man, Atlanta. Just like the Mets, the Braves barely made the playoffs. It's kind of surprising to say that because the past years, the Braves made the playoffs like nothing. They struggled this year, but let me tell you, the Atlanta Braves know how to stay in the fight. As for the San Diego Padres, this team just got crazy. They got all the good hitters, they got all the good pitching, it just feels like they have everything. Unfortunately, the Braves team is suffering from injuries. And even though the team's momentum is probably pretty high right now since they barely made the playoffs, I just feel like they're going to struggle against the San Diego Padres. San Diego with their loud owl crowd. Let's move on to one of the ALDS matches, the Detroit Tigers versus the Cleveland Guardians. Man, the Guardians went off this year. They were crazy good, and I didn't expect that at all. A lot of teams had trouble beating these guys. This team has honestly been strong all year, and they for sure look like they won a World Series ring. With the Detroit Tigers, I'm pretty sure they're going to give Guardians a hard time with all the talent they have. But unfortunately, I feel like the Guardians are way too strong for the Tigers. So I think the Cleveland Guardians will be moving on to the ALCS. The second ALDS matchup is the Kansas City Royals versus the New York Yankees. Now the Yankees, after a really bad 2023 season, they really turned things around. Things just got better when they added the star Juan Soto to their lineup. But the Kansas City Royals are going to be different. I feel like they're just going to stun everyone. And I actually heard some Yankees fans saying that they wanted to face the Royals because it would be an easy series win for them. I just don't think so. I see a really bright future with the Royals. So boom, Kansas City moving on to the ALCS. Now here's the first matchup of the NLDS, the New York Mets versus the Philadelphia Phillies. The Mets will probably go in the NLDS feeling pretty strong. But you know, the Mets just being the Mets and their bullpen probably won't handle the big, strong, long Philadelphia team. If the Phillies really do face the Mets, I'm pretty sure the Phillies will beat the crap out of the Mets. Now this is the team that's expected to win the World Series, especially last year. I really thought they were going to win the World Series last year. But without Craig Kimbrell on the team, nothing can go wrong in the NLDS. The Mets are out of it. The next matchup in the NLDS is a rematch, the San Diego Padres versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, of course, the Padres beat the Dodgers in the NLDS in 2022, and that surprised me. Can't believe the Dodgers had 111 wins just to choke like that. And with the new Padres team now, they're pretty scary. But remember, Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani. And this guy, I just feel like he's changed the Dodgers. With this MVP on the team, I feel like the Dodgers are going to be way more hype in the postseason, and they will get the revenge on the San Diego Padres. Now here's the ALCS matchup, the Kansas City Royals versus the Cleveland Guardians. Okay, at this point, I'm glazing the Royals, and I'm pretty sure you guys expected me to say this. But I think the Kansas City Royals will stun Cleveland. No doubt, the Guardians are not going to go down easy, but I feel like their postseason run is going to end in the ALCS. The NLCS matchup will be the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think people have been wanting to see these two match up in the playoffs again. Now this is where the Dodgers have to be careful because this Phillies team can hurt you. But honestly, I feel like the Dodgers just have a better lineup. And for the Dodgers, probably finally knowing that they got past the NLDS, I'm pretty sure the vibes are just going to be different in the NLCS. Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Dodgers are going back to the World Series. Now finally, the World Series matchup, the Kansas City Royals versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now this World Series, the Royals would probably be trying really hard, but they would be no match for the Dodgers. Pretty sure the Dodgers will blow a game against them, but still, the Dodger team is just way too good. And with that, the Dodgers win the 2024 World Series. Well, there's my prediction. Whoever viewed this video is probably thinking, man, what a horrible prediction. But come on, the D-backs made the World Series last year. Nobody expected that. Anything could happen.